within Western region.
Niliunga mkono Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta sio kwa sababu ya kabila yake, sio kwa sababu alikuwa anawakilisha kabila yake, ni kwa sababu mimi na yeye tuliketi chini tukakubaliana kwa sera ya kuweka maendeleo Kenya hii.
Defending his style of politics, Deputy President William Ruto faults ethnization of Kenyan politics, preaching national unity. And the curtains finally come down. Chief Justice David Maraga to exit Judiciary Monday after attaining 70 years. And Patrick Mwangi, the principal, State House Primary School, and Geoffrey Munjuga, a parent, are our guests tonight on the show Family Matters. We discuss schools reopening with COVID-19. They will be telling us what are some of the struggles or even the adjustments they've had to make schools reopened on Monday to all learners across the country. My name is Purity Museo. Byron Abuli is our sign language interpreter tonight. Our top story: President Uhuru Kenyatta on Sunday took an inspection tour of several ongoing national government development projects in Kisumu County. The head of state visited Kisumu Port, where the Kenyan military is constructing a new shipyard as part of the ongoing rehabilitation and expansion of the important lake transport facility. President Kenyatta then made an aerial inspection of the new 350 million shillings Uhuru Business Complex, an ultra-modern retail market being constructed at Kisumu's Jua Kali area by the national government on 23 acres of land donated by the Kenya Railways.
The president, who was accompanied by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and Chief of Defence Forces General Robert Kibochi, also inspected the ongoing construction of the 415 million shillings Jomo Kenyatta Stadium in Mamboleo, which is 65% complete. The president expressed satisfaction with the progress made in the construction of the sports complex, but encouraged the contractor to ensure the facility is ready for use by April this year. At the Kisumu port, the president was briefed on the progress of the new shipyard facility being constructed by the Kenyan military. On his way back to Nairobi, President Kenyatta overflew and inspected the ongoing rehabilitation of the Nairobi to Western Kenya meter gauge railway. The old railway line is being rehabilitated from Longonot to Kisumu and Malaba, respectively. The president will then make a stopover at the Naivasha Inland Container Depot, where Kenya Railways is laying a new 24-kilometer railway line to link the new standard gauge railway with the rehabilitated MGR. The MGR is being rehabilitated by a multi-agency team led by the Kenya Defence Forces as part of a broad government strategy to consolidate the country's position as the leading trade gateway to the East African hinterland. Weekly for Cage, Channel 1 News.
Deputy President William Ruto now insists that politics should be about seeking solutions to problems facing the nation and not about tribes. Ruto, who was in Kayole, Nairobi, said it was unfortunate that a section of leaders is now trying to whip ethnic emotions for sympathy, warning that the nation cannot afford to slip to ethnic balkanization rather. And the Deputy President said his decision to work with President Uhuru Kenyatta was informed by the agenda of inclusivity and development.
Attending a church service in Kayole, Nairobi County, Deputy President William Ruto was categorical that Kenya cannot afford to lose the unity gains and slide back to ethnic hegemony. Ruto reiterating that the 2022 general election will be about development agenda for the people and not tribal politics.
Wamepata wasiwasi kwa sababu biashara yao ya ukabila na bei ya ukabila Kenya imepungua, na hasara itapatikana kwa biashara yao kwa sababu Wakenya hawataki kuuziwa ukabila tena. wanataka kuuziwa sera na wanataka kujua maisha yao itabadilika vipi.
The deputy president stating what motivated him to support President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Na nilimuunga mkono nikijua ya kwamba Mwai Kibaki alikuwa ofisini na ilikuwa ni makusudi ndio tuweze kuondoa siasa ya ujinga ya kuweka watu katika mirengo ya kabila.
Ruto insisting that clamor to change the constitution should also focus on empowering the common mwananchi.
It is not a must. It is not a condition that William Ruto or anybody must be president, but it is a must that we must all sit on the table. It is not negotiable. It is not negotiable that we can continue to have an exclusive conversation about few people and about some tribes and about some leaders. We are going to have a honest national conversation.
The only thing that we should be preoccupied with is reforming IEBC so that uchaguzi wa mwaka ujao ukuwe wa uhuru na haki. Tukae chini, mwenye kushindwa ashindwe na mwenye kushinda ashinde.
Leaders who accompanied him expressing the need for politicians to call themselves to order and move away from ethnic politics and self-interest.
Hatuzungumzii hiyo lugha yenu ya exclusion. Tribal conversations are about excluding other people. It is about telling others that wewe huwezi kukuja hapa because you come from this place or the other. But the hustler conversation is about inclusion. It is about having everybody on the table.
Let's not be diverted from our focus. Mtu yoyote anakuja kutuambia mambo ya ukabila, anafaa kujiuliza swali moja. Saa zile sisi tunaangalia kiongozi, hatuangaliangi ni kabila gani ametoka. Sisi tukiangalia kiongozi, tunaangalia ile kitu Mungu ameweka ndani yake.
Mahasla sio takataka, mahasla ni wa Kenya. Na wamekuwa mahasla sababu ya uongozi mbaya unaozingatia ukabila. Ndio mahasla wamesema watarudi one step backwards, waangalie mahali walipotea, warudishe nchi mahali inafaa kuwa.
The event also serving as an avenue to drum up support for Margaret Wanjiru for the Nairobi governorship seat in the forthcoming by-election.
Mimi nawauliza kwa unyenyekevu, hivi karibuni tutakuwa na uchaguzi hapa Nairobi. Na sisi tunataka kuchagua mtu Nairobi ambaye anaelewa shida ya mahasla. Hatutaki mtu ya kubebewa na kuletewa.
Nairobi tumefika boiling point. Tunataka kiongozi ambao atatuokoa. Tunataka kiongozi ambao atakumbuka masilahi yetu.
Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
Mimi nataka nipatie.
So tonight on the show, we just want you to share your experiences as a learner, parent or teacher, even as schools reopened amid the COVID-19 pandemic. And so, Peter, you're saying that it's been a tough period as a parent, had to do a lot of adjustment financially. What hurt is universities still charge as a full fees, yet our children are studying at home. All right, keep talking to us. Adam Skalu, you're watching from Ongata Rungai. Tell us what are some of the adjustments, either as a parent, as a learner, or even a teacher that you've had to make, even as schools reopen amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember to use Family Matters KBC as the hashtag. In other matters, Chief Justice David Maraga's term comes to an end Monday and will be capped with a special court ceremony in his honor. Maraga, who has attained 70 years, will be handing over the instruments of power to his deputy, Philomena Mwilu, who will serve until a new office bearer is appointed. Ben Chumba reports.
I, David Kenani Maraga.
After being in office for exactly 4 years, Chief Justice David Maraga, reign at the helm of the judiciary, finally comes to close Monday.
It was my singular honor and privilege to be of service to you as your Chief Justice. If in any way I annoyed you or I did not live up to your expectation, please understand that I'm only human and forgive me. Though I did not achieve what I planned to do, I retire a very happy man.
Maraga's tenure in office, however, drawing mixed reaction from across the divide, with some arguing it was marked by judiciary budgetary cuts, subsequent public fights between the judiciary with the executive, among other challenges. Others of the contrary opinion insist that outgoing Chief Justice David Maraga did his best under the circumstances and will be remembered for the historic nullification of presidential election results in 2017 and significantly reducing the number of cases pending in the court system, among other achievements in his tenure. A special court ceremony in his honor will be held at the Supreme Court Monday, where outgoing CJ Maraga will hand over the instruments of power to the acting Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu. Maraga becomes the country's 14th Chief Justice and the second under the new constitution after taking over office in 2016 following early retirement of his predecessor Willy Mutunga. Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu will step in as acting Chief Justice for a period not exceeding 6 months, pending the appointment of a new Chief Justice as provided by Section 5 of the Judicial Service Act. Maraga is leaving office after attaining 70 years, as the Chief Justice can serve for not more than 10 years under the Constitution. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
And a section of elected leaders have vowed to educate and enlighten locals about the contents of the Building Bridges Initiative report. The leaders who support the bill said they will involve other opinion leaders in their quest to popularize the document in the region to ensure it sails through.
After the explosive letter from Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kangata to the President on a possible collapse of the BBI initiative in the Mount Kenya region, leaders from the area who support the bill are now strategizing on how to popularize it. In a statement read by Kirinyaga Senator Charles Kibiru after a 3-hour closed-door meeting in Murang'a, the leaders, who included members of the National Assembly, senators and women representatives, said they will not let the opportunity brought about by the BBI slip away, claiming the region stands to benefit more from the proposals contained in the document.
We are counting on the pragmatism of the people of Mount Kenya to help them cast aside their political overcoats and rally behind what for them is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to constitutionally ring-fence the mantra of one man, one vote, one shilling through BBI.
The leaders claim that only 15 elected members of parliament out of 91 from the region are against the BBI report, even as they urge the opponents of the report to come on board.
The door remains open to the few of our colleagues who are yet to join the BBI train. In private, they keep telling us they understand BBI is good for the region, but they are afraid to antagonize their political masters. We call upon them to have the courage of their convictions. BBI is for everybody, and we can work together for the betterment of our region and its people.
The leaders have tasked a team of 5 members to be led by Senator Kibiru and the Gembe North Member of Parliament Maoka Maori to come up with a roadmap on the operationalization of the campaign.
We call upon all elected and unelected leaders from the region, including our governors, MCAs, the clergy, opinion leaders, and indeed key actors to ensure everybody is on board in our quest.
Wycliffe Okech, Channel 1 News.
And still in politics, leaders in Kisii County have endorsed Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i to be the community's elder and spokesperson. Kisii County Governor James Ongwae says the decision was arrived at after a lengthy meeting to enable the community have a common voice going forward.
Leaders from the Gusii land want Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i to lead the community to leadership. Led by Kisii Governor James Ongwae, the leaders say they will approach the Interior Cabinet Secretary to be the Kisii community's elder and spokesperson.
We all agreed, the 2 governors here, the 2 senators, the 2 county MPs, but we also agreed that the only informative meetings is very few people will meet. So they are going to talk to all the other leaders, elected leaders, and the other leaders who are not necessarily formally elected to parliament.
Nataka viongozi wachunge wote, and I mean that, wote, tuwaite, tuwe pamoja siku moja pahali.
The leader said the CS has positioned himself as a selfless leader with good working relations who will unite the region.
Tumesema tutaita viongozi wote wausi ndio tuweze kubeba hiyo mzigo, tukuwe na mtu mmoja wa kuongea kwa niaba yetu.
Meanwhile, Kangundo Member of Parliament Fabian Chule wants Kenyans to ignore divisive politics and embrace development-minded policies ahead of the 2022 general election.
Tunataka hata siku moja wakati tutasikia mtu kutoka Pokoti amekuwa president. Kwa hivyo inaenda kila mahali na hiyo itakuwa mzuri.
In your home, when you embrace the unity, you know, as Christian, we think also Satan is listening. So he'll still also mess your house. So give the president speech, is right to continue his speech, give him blessing to lead our nation.
Na hata Bible inasema sit with your friend, reason together, and I'm saying that we should reason together.
The legislator said any attempts to balkanize Kenya on ethnic lines will be so costly to this nation. Irene Mchuma, Odim, Channel 1.
Majority of boys within the coast region are yet to report back to school a week after the in-person learning kicked off across the country. The Ministry of Education says most schools have recorded a high turnout of girls with little information on the whereabouts of school boys. Parents have now been given until Monday to ensure their children report to school, as the ministry warns that defaulters will not be spared.
Parents of learners who have not reported back to school at the coast region risk being arrested come Monday if they will not avail their children for classes. Education Chief Administrative Secretary Zach Kinuthia, who toured the region, revealed that a high number of learners, mostly boys, are yet to appear in schools a week after face-to-face learning resumed.
Nimeshtuka sana kuona hapa pwani wale waliorudi shule zaidi ni watoto wasichana, vijana hatujui wako wapi. Wasichana wamerudi sana, vijana hatujui wako wapi. Nikauliza nikaambiwa wengine wako bodaboda, wengine wako baharini, wengine wameenda vibarua Mombasa, na wengine wameenda pahali pengine.
The Education CAS, who was speaking during the burial of former Kaloleni Member of Parliament Gunga Mwinga, said it was a shock that the learners freely absconded school to engage in manual jobs, tasking parents to avail the learners.
Nataka nitoe onyo kali sana hapa. Kama mtoto wako kijana yu biashara zake Kilifi, Mtwapa, Mombasa na anatafuta hela duni, pigia simu sasa hivi umwambie asipojisalimisha shuleni Jumatatu atatiwa mbaroni, awekwe ndani, apelekwe Wamumu.
Waziri Magoha alisema watoto wasirejeshwe nyumbani kwa sababu ya fee. Tunataka uliseme hilo. Wazazi wetu hawana pesa, warejee shule, wabaki shule. Gavana yuko na pesa ya basari, tuko na pesa za basari, tutalipa.
The Ministry of Education also targets pregnant teenagers in the back-to-school operation, saying measures have been taken to offer an accommodative environment. But as the government embarks on the search for the missing boys who are yet to report back to school, a student in Meru County who allegedly faked kidnap has been arrested at Nkubu Town. Confirming the incident, Tharaka Nithi County Criminal Investigation Officer Betty Chepmweno said the boy who had left home for school later called his parents, informing them that he had been kidnapped and that his kidnappers were asking for 20,000 Kenya shillings ransom.
Yeye mwenyewe akatueleza mambo ya ukweli, akatuambia yeye hakukuwa amekuwa kidnapped. Yeye ni mafikirio, alifikiria ya kuwa aki-allege the allegation ya kuwa amekuwa kidnapped. Relatives yake watatuma pesa kwake. Yeye anasema marafiki zake wale wanatembea naye, wale wanasoma naye, wakiwa nyumbani anaona wanavaa nguo mzuri, nguo ya mavazi ya vijana, lakini sababu familia yao ya kijana iko chini sana, akaona waje fake apate pesa, ndio akitoka shule aje anunue mavazi avae kama watoto wengine.
Kamchemenza for Channel 1 News.
On a separate matter, 6 people from Aurora village in Merti, Isiolo County have been killed in a span of 48 hours in a fresh attack by assailants believed to be from the neighboring Wajir County. The tension said to have been sparked by herders tussling over a disputed border boundary.
Residents in Isiolo County and Wajir County have had long-standing conflicts ranging from boundary dispute as well as grazing area. The latest incident has raised tension in the already fluid situation between two counties. The latest conflict claiming the lives of 2 brothers who were shot dead while on a motorbike on Wednesday, and 4 herders were ambushed while sleeping in Amanyata on Thursday night.
Watu 6 this week, watu 6 wamekufa na mama moja wamefunja mguu na mali nyingi zimepotea, mbuzi, ng'ombe, donke mingi displacement. Wakati risasi inakuja wewe ndio mali imekimbia imepotea,
na tunahuzunika sana, na hii mambo lazima ikomeshwe na serikali ambaye ni serikali kuu ambaye inahusika na security. Inatakikana ichukue hatua ya haraka, hatua dhabiti.
According to Dabaso Halkano, herders from Wajir are on a mission to forcefully evict their Isiolo counterparts from a water point.
Tunaomba serikali atuletee maji, atuletee chakula, atuletee security ili hii watu wetu wakae na amani.
Area leaders who visited Aurora, led by Isiolo Governor Mohamed Kuti, called on the Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i to move with speed and beef up security in the affected areas so that lives of innocent citizens are not lost unnecessarily.
Kwa hivyo ni muhimu sana magari ziongezwe, police stations ziongezwe, na hii inahitaji mikutano ya dharura baina ya viongozi ya Isiolo na watu wa security, hasa bwana Matiang'i.
Mombasa County government says it's ready for a reinstatement dialogue with the 86 sacked doctors. The county government, while urging the doctors to abandon their hard stance and return to work, said the County Public Service Board was addressing their grievances.
The sacking of 86 doctors by Mombasa County government early this week on grounds of deserting duty seems not to have solved the healthcare crisis in the county. Besides the doctors, other healthcare providers, among them nurses and clinical officers, are currently on strike. Faced by the crisis which seems nowhere to end, the Mombasa County now says it's ready for negotiations with the sacked medics.
And His Excellency the Governor has given us the mandate to negotiate for the benefit of the medical staff and also for the people. We pray and we ask the medical staff to consider that common mananchi and return to work even as we continue negotiating. And we are very sure that we open ourselves, we are open in our minds, we are not hiding any cards.
Mombasa County Health CEC Dr. Nyongesa Nato said a lot of issues raised by the health workers are being addressed by County Public Service Board.
The issue in our last discussion that was raised by the medical staff was that we include the staff who are on short contracts into the NHIF scheme. As we are aware, this was not the case before. And so in our discussions, we have taken that very, very seriously. And we have engaged with NHIF with a view of including this short-term staff into our comprehensive super cover of the NHIF.
The CEC said since October last year, more than 135 medical officers have been promoted in line with their demands. Sentiments echoed by Mombasa Public Service Board Chairperson Farid Abdullah, who said some of the contentious issues such as promotion, statutory deductions and NHIF cover have been addressed.
The issue of reinstatement is not because before the dismissal they were given show cause letters, and after the show cause letters they were called for hearing, but the doctors never showed up. After that, that's when now we took the decision to do that. So even the issue of reinstatement, I don't think the county has a challenge with that. The fact that we are committed to the doctors, we are committed as well to the citizenry of Mombasa, because the person who is actually suffering is the local mwananchi.
Reporting for Channel 1 News from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
All right, and thank you so much for staying tuned to Channel 1 Weekend. This Sunday night, Franklin Langat, you tuned in with your family from Sotik. Alphonse Safaris from Nyani Wamunyu, you tuned in. Alphonse once again tuned in from Wamunyu. And Saidi Peter, COVID-19 is real. Let God protect our children. You're watching from Malaba Town with your family. And Bonnie, you also tuned in from Kisii County. COVID-19 is real. And when we return from this short commercial break, we bring you the latest numbers from the Ministry of Health. Stay tuned.
Enda pale kwa Palume. Wakenya. Kari ndio hii. Oh, sorry, kifungu ndio hii kari. Ni furaha ile niko nayo. Msichali Kate. Wacha tupeane mali ya wenyewe.
Ni vizuri tupee watu vitu zao.
Uchukue mali yako. Uchukue mali yako. Allah! Hiyo ndio shamra.
Hiyo ndio shamra ya quick bid.
Umeona? Umeamini?
Nimeamini kabisa.
Hii inaitwa nini?
Hii inaitwa kifungu.
Na hii inaitwa nini?
Toyota Probo.
Toyota Pro. Mpatie kifungu hiyo original.
Shika ingine. Ndio ya kuendesha.
Onesha.
Na wewe unaitwa nani?
Naitwa Steven.
Steven nani?
Kahuho.
Nakwambia. Uliwekelea bid ya ngapi brother?
1772 peke yake.
We. Na ndio amejishindia Pro Box. Sasa hii Pro Box inakusaidia aje?
Itakuwa inanisaidia kazi yangu ya kuuza matunda.
Unaambia je watu wako nyumbani ambao watakuona na hii?
Wote wacheze na quick bid. Ukweli.
Ni ukweli.
Kabisa.
Sasa tufanyie vizuri. Ingia upate mizigo yako bana. Ingia utoshee ukae usikie. Ingia. Inakutosha sawa? Sisi tulikwambia ni aje? Bidhaa bora kwenye bei ya chini. Bidhaa bora kwenye bei ya chini.
Jiunga na Quick Bid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quick Bid, bidhaa bora.
Simojifanya ni washindani. Ngoja siku ifike.
Mimi ni paka mwitu nitakupa pura.
Ni usiku sasa, matatizo kuna nini?
Mtume! Nilikwambia wacha kuzungumza na mwanamke. She has no respect. Coming to my party. Wataka kunipiga? Nipige.
Kuwa makini sana ule mke wako. Na usivyo tukugharimu.
Mamako mwenyewe. Wewe usiniudhi. Sawa, wewe ulimwona mamangu?
Huwezi kunisaidia. Nenda zako.
To you too. Cheers.
Thank you so much for staying with us. So how are you adjusting to the new normal as a learner, parent, or even teacher? At Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News, the hashtag Family Matters KBC. That's the conversation that we are having. When the schools reopened for only the candidates in October, it was a bit easy for the teachers, but now the issue of the social distancing is becoming a problem because all learners are in school. So let's see how public schools are adjusting to this. And our guest tonight is the principal, State House Primary School, and a parent. His name is Geoffrey Munjuga. We'll be having that conversation during this broadcast. Kenya has recorded 87 new coronavirus cases Sunday from a tested sample of 3,766, bringing the total number of reported cases to 98,271. 6 people have succumbed to the disease within the same period and 67 recoveries.
On Sunday, Kenya recorded 87 more COVID-19 infections from 3,766 samples tested in the past 24 hours. The figures are bringing the cumulative cases to 98,271. From the new cases, Nairobi recorded 36 cases, Taita Taveta and Kiambu both sharing a case each, Busia 17 and Kisumu 2. Uasin Gishu has 6 cases, Kilifi 5, Mombasa 6, Nakuru 2, with Kisii, Machakos, Garissa and Trans Nzoia both are sharing a case. The country has also reported 67 recoveries, 55 coming from the home-based care program, while 12 are from various hospitals. The total number of recoveries since March stands at 80,875. On a sad note, however, 6 people have succumbed to the virus in the past 24 hours, bringing the total fatalities to 1,710. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
And a family in Kayole, Nairobi County is pleading for financial assistance to enable their son undergo a heart surgery. The family of 1-year-old Naya Thuita Maina needs 1.5 million shillings to help him undergo the procedure at Gertrude Children's Hospital in Nairobi, and it pleads with well-wishers to assist. Naya Thuita Maina was born in October 13, 2019. The second born and only boy child in a family of 2 is learning to walk. He led a normal life since birth until last year when his mother noticed something unusual with her baby.
Nilijua shida yake venye niliona ongezi weight akiwa na miezi 11, nikaona ko 7.5.
He was diagnosed with a congenital heart disease, a defect in the structure of the heart that is present at birth, which causes a child to experience rapid breathing and poor weight gain.
Nikampeleka hosi. Sasa hapo ndio penye tulipatikana ako na hiyo shida. Nikaambiwa ako na hiyo shida ya heart, so haizi ongeza weight.
Congenital heart disease is a condition that occurs when there is a defect in how the heart is formed while the baby is still in the stomach during development of organs in the normal creation. So that can happen because of many reasons. It can be just random, like just randomly happening on some children, or it can happen because there's something that triggered that to happen, either because there were some drugs that were being used during pregnancy, or it's a genetic thing.
Experts say the treatment of the defect depends on the type and severity of the defect. While some babies have mild heart defects that heal on their own with time, others, like baby Naya, may have severe defects that require extensive treatment.
Ya sando tukaenda Kenyatta tukaambiwa lazima fanyiwe surgery. Kutoka hapo Kenyatta wakatutuma Gertrude, ndio tukaenda Gertrude, sasa wakatuambia wanaweza fanya.
The lungs are the ones that normally start suffering, and when that happens, the heart itself starts becoming too big and they start suffering from heart failure. And so heart failure, then at that point now you're saying that this particular organ could have been salvaged, but when it becomes destroyed, then you can't salvage it. So if you continue buying more time, you're just buying more complications. That means that maybe then at that point, then you need a totally new heart and maybe totally new set of lungs.
The family has since been in and out of hospital to seek help for their child. Gertrude Children's Hospital is ready to perform the correctional surgery, but the family is unable to raise the 1.5 million shillings the hospital requires to perform the procedure. They are calling upon well-wishers to help them give their son a lease of life.
I have friends who maybe if they are well up they could help. But according to the situation we are in, most of the people are also suffering because of the situation of the country.
Donations can be channeled to baby Naya Thuita Maina medical account till number 971932 or M-Pesa number 0722906807. And the family does not want to buy more time before they have the baby operated. Therefore, you can channel your help through the numbers provided for, the ones that were displayed right on your screen, or even reach out to us. The mobile number for the family is 0722906807. And of course, you can always reach out to us through our social media platforms or give us a call in case you need to help this family. From the counties, farmers in Teso, Busia County are counting huge losses after floods swept away their crops. The affected residents are now appealing to the government to come to their aid and offer a lasting solution. Details of this and more from our County News Roundup.
Farmers in Teso, Busia County are counting losses after a heavy downpour swept away their crops. The floods broke the banks of River Malakisi and River Komeriai.
Leo imeharibika kabisa. Maji zimesomba mahindi na maragwe na mboga. Hatuna mahali tunaweza kuishi sasa, tuko na njaa sana.
And in Turkana, the county government has launched a 133 million shillings project to help women and youth. The group has been in the meantime urged to embrace entrepreneurship in order to uplift their lives.
Baka tujifunze maneno ya kufanya biashara. Kufanya biashara ndogo na kufanya biashara kubwa. Hiyo ndio itasaidia vijana kupata ajira. Hakuna njia nyingine.
And the tourism resort of Malindi is facing a major challenge of waste management following reckless dumping of litter in undesignated places.
Kila mtu atukue jukumu. Pahali unafanyia biashara ni jukumu lako kusafisha hapo pahali. Kama tunakuja area yako siku fulani kufanya hii usafi. Hata ukifunga, hata ukiacha kijana yako ama mfanyakazi wako pale, wewe mwenye biashara uonekane pale ukishirikiana na wengine.
Meanwhile, Garissa Sub-County Deputy Commissioner Bernard Ole Kipuri has cautioned youth planning to disrupt tarmacking of a road in Galbet Ward, Garissa Township. He said they have information of the plan and will not allow the project to be interrupted.
Sheria itachukua mkondo yake na watashangaa sana. Kwa sababu ile kitu serikali inataka ifanyike kama ni barabara ya wananchi lazima ijengwe. Kwa hivyo hatutaki mtu yeyote ambaye atalete kujaribu kusimamisha hii project ama kulete ukora.
Elsewhere, a section of landowners in Kajiado County have vowed to stop an ongoing 2.6 billion shillings power project by the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company.
Kazi itasimama na itasimama mpaka tupatiwe haki yetu. Haki ya mashamba yetu ni lazima na ni haki yetu. Yes. Na lazima tupatiwe. Kwa hivyo kuanzia leo tutaka kutangazia serikali hii kazi imesimama na Kentako wakitaka wakuja hakikisha kwamba wamefuata sheria.
Finally, a section of vegetable farmers in Kisii County are reaping big from the reopening of schools, which they say has provided them with ready market for their produce.
Nilianza kupeleka mboga kwa masure bila shule zilifunguliwa. Sasa nilikuwa na furaha vile watoto wetu waliingia kwa masure.
Ruth Wamboi for Channel 1 News.
Let's now have a look at some sports news. Champions Gor Mahia suffered their second defeat of the 2020-2021 Kenya Premier League season today when they went down 4-3 to Kariobangi Sharks at the Kasarani Stadium. Tusker FC defeated Kakamega Homeboys 1-0, while Western Stima played to a 1-1 draw with Nzoia Sugar.
Kariobangi Sharks closed the gap between them and leaders KCB to just 3 points after collecting a much-deserved 3 points against champions Gor Mahia. Sharks defeated Gor Mahia 4-3 to move to 15 points on the table, 3 behind leaders KCB, who are at the top with 18 points, though with a game at hand. This was Gor Mahia's second defeat of the season in 3 matches, adding more pain to the title holders, who were knocked out of the Champions League and conceding 8 goals in the process. A brace by Eric Kapaito and a goal apiece by Daniel Sakaria and John Kuol handed Sharks the win, with Kogalo getting consolation goals from Clifton Miheso, John Macharia and Geoffrey Ocheng. Tusker FC struggled against Kakamega Homeboys but managed to scrap 3 points from the match at Bukungu, with Henry Major getting the lone goal for the Brewers midway through the second half. Nzoia Sugar and Western Stima had scored a goal each by the 25th minute, and the two sides could not be separated to the final whistle.
Kenya Premier League giants Gor Mahia have appointed Portuguese Carlos Manuel Vaz Pinto as their new head coach. Vaz Pinto will now replace Oliveira, who left Kogalo after the Confederation of African Football CAF barred him from sitting on the touchline during the CAF matches after having problems with his coaching qualification papers.
Following the exit of Oliveira, Gor Mahia hired Posta Rangers coach Sami Pamzo Omolo on a temporary basis, and the former international had already taken charge of the team in 2 CAF Champions League assignments against APR of Rwanda and CR Belouizdad of Algeria. The club has confirmed the signing of Portuguese Vaz Pinto, who will now be tasked with getting Kogalo to CAF Confederations Cup after the team was relegated from CAF Champions League, losing 8-1 on aggregate to CR Belouizdad of Algeria.
And now I come to Gor Mahia because Gor Mahia is a big club. I'm very proud to be coach of Gor Mahia. And of course I want to achieve big things and make history in the club, and we start to work very hard to win games in the league and to put Gor Mahia in the group stage of CAF Confederation.
We thank him for having accepted to be our new head coach, and that is our pleasure to unveil him today. Secondly, it was clear from recent performances that we need to up our game in physical fitness, and again we are lucky then to have this morning engaged Mr. Hamisi Juma Musa, also a very experienced physiotherapist stroke fitness trainer.
Gor Mahia will face Kariobangi Sharks this afternoon in one of 3 Football Kenya Federation FKF Premier League matches on card today. The match, which will be played at the Moi International Sports Centre Kasarani, will be the 3rd league game for Kogalo this season. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sports.
And Badminton Kenya Confederation will hold national trials next weekend to select a Kenyan squad that will feature in the next round of Olympic Games qualifiers in Uganda. This has been confirmed by the Confederation's chairperson Peter Mushiri after the end of Nairobi Open that has attracted 63 players at Sikh Union.
2-day Badminton Nairobi Open culminated today at Sikh Union in Nairobi. The championship that had attracted 63 players was aimed at preparing players for the upcoming Olympic Games qualifiers, where Kenya is set to host a round of qualification this March. John Wanyoike continued his dominance by beating Edwin Akwanyi 21-13, 22-20 sets in the men's singles, while Sami Sikoyo beat Nixon Kiprotich 21-18, 13-21, 21 21-19. In the women's singles, Lavina Martins beat Linda Masomtai 21-19, 18-21, 21-16. Meanwhile, in the women's doubles, Linda Masomtai and Louis Andia beat Sharon Juma and Winnie Wandia 21-14, 21-13.
If to have a strong squad, actually the preparation starts at minimum 4 years earlier. So we've not had the best of preparations, but at least National Olympic Committee has come to our rescue. At least one of our top athletes has been given all the requisite support, and also the government has come in strongly to support us. But in fact, now we are setting our eyes towards 2024 Paris Olympics in Paris, because now we are starting their preparations now, getting our national team in place formally, recruiting coaches. We are doing the recruitments next weekend, so that now we are basically building the structures.
The championship was aimed at preparing players for the upcoming Olympic Games qualifiers that will be held in Uganda, Kenya and South Africa. The Uganda qualifying tournament will be held from 25th to 27th of next month, while Kenya will host another tournament from 4th to 7th March. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sports.
Last season's FA Cup runners-up Chelsea returned to winning ways, comfortably beating League 2 Morecambe 4-0 to reach the fourth round. Morecambe equipped themselves well after recovering from a coronavirus outbreak at the club, which denied captain Sam Lavelle a place in the side. Manchester City were 3-0 winners over Birmingham City, while Leeds suffered a shock 3-0 loss to Crawley.
Bother the Chelsea fans. That's a good hit. And Mason Mount arrows in a shot that gives Chelsea almost a casual lead. And that's floated in, and this is better from Chelsea. And touched in by Timo Werner. Havertz with a clever header. And after Mason Mount's goal drought ended, so too does Timo Werner. Oh, lovely pass from him. Hudson-Odoi makes it 3. They were looking for a flag, but it wasn't there.
Trent heads the ball away, no particular direction on that. Oh, and a fine start for Manchester City. What a brilliant volley that is. It's taken them 7 minutes to make their mark. Mahrez, cute ball. Right across the face of goal, and they're walking it in. A superb second at the sharp end of things once more. Here's Bernardo Silva. City taking the low route again. Foden. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. A magic wand. Casts a spell. And Phil Foden scores Manchester City's third goal of the game.
Real Madrid missed the chance to go top of La Liga as they drew at struggling Osasuna in freezing snowy conditions. Meanwhile, Barcelona extended their unbeaten run to 8 league matches as Lionel Messi and Antoine Griezmann both struck twice in the dominant win at Granada.
Chance to go top of La Liga as they drew at struggling Osasuna in freezing snowy conditions. The game had been in doubt because of Storm Filomena, Spain's most intense storm in the past 50 years. It went ahead, but both sides struggled to create many clear-cut chances, with only 3 shots on target between them. Real's Karim Benzema and Sergio Ramos both had goals disallowed for offsides. Atletico Madrid stayed top by 1 point without playing. Rivals Barcelona extended their unbeaten run to 8 league matches as Lionel Messi and Antoine Griezmann both struck twice in a dominant win at Granada. Griezmann's opener was initially ruled offside, but it was decided a pass had deflected to him off a Granada player. Messi fired into the top corner from 18 yards and then cleverly fisted home a low free kick to move him top of La Liga scoring charts on 11 goals. After the break, Griezmann struck again and Granada had Jesus Vallejo sent off.
So a lot of your feedback coming in, especially on the financial implications, the reopening of schools amid COVID-19, parents saying that the fact that they have to ensure their children have masks, it's a bit tricky for them, and the fact that the schools are reopening at a time when every person has faced some economic implications from the pandemic. So tonight, schools reopening with COVID-19 is what we discuss. What is the situation like in the schools themselves? Are they able to accommodate these children and ensure social distancing is observed? Tonight, we speak with the principal, State House Primary School, and a parent. Let's get to hear from what the schools are doing to ensure safety of our learners in schools. At Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News, Family Matters KBC is the hashtag to use tonight. I'll see you on the other side of this break with that conversation. Stay with us.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. The weatherman predicts cold weather conditions will prevail over most parts of the country in the next 24 hours tonight. The whole country is experiencing scattered wet conditions, save for the northern parts of the country where the region has been covered with partly cloudy conditions. And that is how it will be throughout to the morning hours, where we will wake up to rains in the county of Nyeri, and this will be over a few places. Cloudy weather conditions will characterize the county of Nairobi and counties around the region. The northeastern parts of the country and the northwestern parts of the country will mainly be sunny. The Lake Basin region and western sector will largely experience sunny intervals, but there will be rains of a few places in areas of Kisii, Kericho, and Kisumu. There'll also be rains of a few places in the county of Narok. The coastal strip will mainly experience sunny intervals with scattered wet conditions, and that will only affect areas around Malindi. In the afternoon, we'll see an increase of wet conditions across the country, which will largely affect the western parts of the country. These will be showers accompanied by thunderstorms, which will affect Kisumu, Kakamega, Kericho, Kitale. There'll also be showers in the county of Nairobi, and these will also spread to Meru and Nyeri. The northern parts of the country will continue to experience sunny intervals. The coastal strip will be cloudy with wet conditions prevailing over a few places, and especially around Malindi and Lamu areas. Let's cross over to temperatures, and this is it. The highest across the country will be experienced in Lodwar at 36 degrees Celsius. Nairobi will experience highs of 23, and tonight we are experiencing highs of 15 degrees Celsius. Let's now cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast. Good night and a blessed week ahead.
On the next episode of Ashoka.
Ashok, it is impossible for you to escape from the trap that I have set for you.
My mother believes that I was born to rid people of their worries. And if I don't do so, I'll be dishonoring my mother's belief.
Hey, Lord! Hey, Lord! I only have one son, Lord. Please spare his life, Lord. Please spare his life.
Huh? Who had come here? This is the kind of security arrangements you have. Will someone answer me?
Next on.
Do not insult Mariana Cipriano. She didn't do anything wrong. She only went out to spend the night at a friend's house. They were all girls and they're all the same age.
Well, I don't like it one bit.
But I'm hoping to see you on Monday and make plans to meet again so we could talk. I need to let you know what I feel for you.
Oh, darling. I cannot wait any longer to see you again, to hold you again, and to once again show you that I love you. I hope that you'll be here for my birthday, Juliana.
Cons, I don't think we should get married.
Why are you telling me this right now, Max?
There's another woman in my life.
You realized what?
The love that I feel for you.
All right, so Kenya shut the schools in mid-March as a measure to contain the COVID-19 disease. And of course, in October the 12th, it reopened schools for learners in Class 4, Class 8 and Form 4. On Monday this week, learners from all other classes were able to join their lessons, and there have been a lot of concerns, especially from parents, on the safety of their learners in schools and the issue of the economy and school fees. We also had the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor George Magoha, warning teachers against sending home learners who cannot afford, or learners for parents who cannot afford to clear the school fees. So what is the current situation in schools a week after learners resumed their lessons? That's what we talk about tonight on Family Matters. Good evening. Welcome to this episode of the show. I'm Purity Museo, and next to me is Patrick Mwangi, who is the principal, State House Primary School, and next to Patrick is Geoffrey Munjuga, who is a parent, and he was telling me off air that he has a child in both upper and lower primary. So you also have a child who is maybe under the the CBC program. Welcome, gentlemen, to the show, and thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
so before we go on with the show, there was a lot of concerns from parents especially, and let me just go through one from a parent who is saying that it has been tough as a parent, a lot of adjustments financially, and of course the issue of school fees, right? So let's talk about the challenges as a parent. Were you ready? Were you prepared? When the Minister of Health announced that schools will reopen for every learner, that time you did not have any candidate, so all your children were at home. How prepared were you? Were you ready for your learners to go back to school?
Well, yes, we were prepared, although we were a bit apprehensive because we did not know what exactly are we expecting, what's going to happen. So in it, there was a bit of anxiety. The children were also excited because they knew they were going back to school, although they were also not sure because they could hear there are all these protocols that they need to observe. So I guess, and then again, by virtue of them being at home for close to 9 months, there was the issue about them having actually outgrown their uniforms. So we really had to go back to the shops and get them new uniform in preparation. Yes.
And what were your fears in terms of the safety of your children in school, owing to the coronavirus cases being reported in the country? We still have no cure for it. Did you maybe have any reservations to taking your children to school under this circumstance?
I guess the greatest concern was about how they are going to manage given the protocols that have been set out. You'll agree with me that for the children, it's very difficult for them to observe social distance because, first of all, they're going to meet their old friends who they haven't met in a long time. So there's that sheer excitement. So, and in the process, then again, they'll not meet the protocols stated. Secondly, is the issue of the masks. How are they going to handle the masks? How is it going to be like for them? Because again, this is something that they're not used to wearing. Are they going to be able to wear the mask all the time? Then also, how are they going to react after wearing the masks? Is it going to be comfortable? Are we going to have issues with them, health issues, because of wearing the masks? And then also, again, you also fear because you don't know how the way we are told that the virus spreads, you also don't know whether are they going to be at risk. You know, you're not sure. So there's that apprehension that I'm sure perhaps all the parents had.
Yeah, and you'll be giving us a review because it's 1 week since now your children went back to school. Let's begin with the latest. Majority of boys at the coastal region have not reported back to school. As a principal, how many learners are back to school?
Thank you, Purity. As far as learners back in school is concerned, you know, when we started on 8th October with grade 4 and candidate class 8 back in school, that was a test case for the government in trying to see how best they can be placed to bring in the whole learning system, that is from PP to grade 8. And it was such successful because within that period of time, we realized that there were no cases of COVID registered in schools. So of course, the government then has to make it and sure that the whole system is back into learning process. In regard to the question of learners who have come back to school, actually, learners were anticipating to go back to school. Of course, you see, with 9 months out of the teachers had whom they were acquainted to, they were eagerly waiting for such a period. So we would register, as we would say, our experience for last week is that almost 100%, 99% are already in school. And some of the cases of which they may not have come back to school are logistical, things like maybe transport, such like maybe change of work from the parent point of view. As such, you may find that not 100%, but 100% in some cases are back in school.
Okay.
Irrespective of the gender.
Right. When I spoke with you in October, you were comfortable that the learners, the number of learners that you have, you're able to protect in regards to COVID-19.
No.
But you said something that you are scared in case the government announced that now every person needs to be back to school because of the issue of social distancing. Are you experiencing any challenges at school?
Well, you find that when learners came back, of course, teachers were prepared enough because what the ministry did was to give us regulations that were supposed to govern operation of learners as they came in. We had to set some few regulations, which included one, formation of the COVID committees within the school, which were supposed to earmark and to make sure that they observe what is happening in school. In that committee also, they were supposed also to have identified an area of isolation in case any child or any learner have been found with any condition that would warrant one to think that is a COVID-related case. The schools were also meant to come out with isolation places where such a case, when identified, could be isolated from others. Another important thing that the government has made it clear to the teachers and had been done was that all the schools were to have thermograms so that every learner, as you get to school, the temperatures are taken in the morning and recorded, and also in the afternoon. In that case, because teachers are people on the ground and they are able to identify such in case it were to happen that a child has a very high level of temperature, that case would be considered, taken seriously, taken to isolation. And again, the Ministry of Health had given numbers, hotline to all the schools or to the sub-county level, so that if in case of such happened, they were able to relate so well, and the child would be picked up very fast and also taken to the hospital for such. But as it is now, it is all the system go. We have not experienced such. And we believe and we trust that all the fears that the parent did have should come to an end, because we are moving on very well.
And on the issue of social distancing, you had said it would be difficult to achieve that if all learners came back to school. Are you able to attain, I know the Minister of Health had said it may be difficult to achieve the 1 meter distance, but how are you dealing with that in State House Primary?
Well, it has been very clear from the ministerial position that where numbers outnumbering the space we are calling class, we have been we have been allowed even to go out where there is open space where the children can be taken care of. Of course, it may not be 100% in terms of social distancing, but what we have insisted, what the ministry have insisted most is that every runner in every situation must have a mask. There must be washing point for the children. Those are two unique and very important things that all the runners must undergo in every other day before the running process takes place. And it has been noticed or observed that when those two measures mainly are taken care into by the parent, by the teachers, I think the issue of COVID would be very minimal, because social distances, if it is there, as long as the child has got the mask and has got also the water point are there, I don't think it would so much affect the learners.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you and I'll prepare for this one, how you're taking care of the young ones, you know, the small children in schools. But just before you answer that, let's review the first week of school. I know your children were at home for a whole 9 months. So how are you protecting? Let's begin with how you are protecting them in the house from COVID-19. Then we can review the 1 week.
Well, I think the first issue was about creation of awareness to the children, to realize that yes, COVID is real and it is here with us and we all need to take care of ourselves. So as a clarion call, we have engaged them into regular inhaling, where you inhale steam inhaling, and you mix it with a menthol, just to make sure that it serves as some form of protection. In addition, we have tried to keep them busy, both with curricular and co-curricular activities. We'll try and set them into some academic events, and also non-academic. They've learned how to wash dishes, they've learned how to make their beds, they've learned how to clean the house, and whatever else that is important. We've also told them about the need, even when they have to interact with the neighbors and with the other children, the need to keep that social distance, and also to practice wearing the mask. Although achieving that at 100% wasn't entirely possible, but at least the issue of raising the level of awareness was key and was very important. Now going to week 1 of
and first make it clear, your children are day scholars?
Yes, they are.
All right.
Week 1, with all the excitement, I would say that they were also keen to learn and to understand about all these protocols. Hitherto, they never needed to wash their hands at the gate when they walk into school, but now they must do that. So adherence, and taking also their temperature. So adherence to that, I think day 1 was a bit of a challenge because of forgetting, but slowly they've gotten into that, and it has become routine. The issue of wearing the mask has also been difficult. As you know, they're children. So you find that you'll have issues about the mask. The mask has cut the what do you call it? The earlobe. So they don't have. But the teachers, I must say, I must commend them, because they've taken contingency measures to ensure that they have spare masks. So like I remember, I think on day 2 or day 3, one of my sons had that problem, and quickly one of the teachers managed to give him another mask. So into day 4, day 5, they've now started getting used to this, and I think going forward, it should work, because it must work. It's tiresome for them as well. I guess also it being back to school after such a long time. So it's been a long week. But I believe there are better days to come. And as we go forward, all these little teething problems here and there, you know, reminding them about how they need to wash your hands, reminding them getting used to wearing the mask. I think as we move along, it should work out and it will become a way of life. Yeah.
All right. It's easy, Patrick, to enlighten or sensitize why learners need to put on the mask, especially the ones on the upper primary. But now we have the nursery school children. We earlier this week were seeing reports on social media where a parent was saying that my child went to school with this type of a mask and she came back home with a different mask. So how are you dealing with these young ones?
Well, thank you very much. In regard to mask, you see the Ministry of Education is very categorical in regard to wearing of the mask for school-going children. So there is no two way about it. You may find that it may not a big problem for the learners who are in tertiary institution or even in upper primary, but actually in the lower, there may be that slight challenge. But one good thing about it is that teachers understand this, and what we have made it possible is that in that COVID committee within the school, the foremost issue that is looked into very early when the children get into school is to make sure that each and every learner has a mask. And of course, these children have been away out of the school for 9 months, and they have been putting on masks even at home. It is only that the regulation is more now at the school level than it was at home, because of course the parent was not to keep the child for the whole period of time. But what it is now in the school, it is mandatory. We are trying to see a situation of where maybe a learner would forget a mask, but again, it is the responsibility of teachers to make sure that these young learners are well taken care of, because we know the consequence of not putting on a mask. I do not think that probably the social distancing may be a slight challenge to most of the learners. Then we cannot do without mask. We must keep on encouraging, we must keep on directing, we must keep on informing, we must keep on showing them and setting the good example. Particularly teachers must also have their mask. And you know, children like imitating. And I'm sure that in most schools in this country, learners are imitating teachers and doing exactly by putting the mask. So it may not, in the long run, it may not be an issue, a serious issue, but a practice issue. Yes.
And I'm talking about a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old who is actually being fed by their teachers and they're removing their masks. They do not understand why they have to put on this. We've seen children actually not comfortable putting on the mask. How are you dealing with these cases?
Well, at first maybe a challenge, because you see young ones who have not been used so much to the school, but have been put on a mask. It may be a little bit difficult to sustain it for the whole period. But the teachers have been reminded, teachers have been made to understand that the life of these young ones depend on them. So there is no two way about it. They must keep on watching and making sure that these learners do have mask at all time. They may, at given time, remove the mask or the strap get off. But the teachers have a responsibility and they have a duty to make sure that it happens, because without that, then the COVID that we are protecting may not be protected. And as such, you see, it will be a catastrophe to the whole nation. So as such, it is a collective responsibility, mostly from the point of the teachers, so that we see to it that masks are on with the children throughout the learning process. Yeah.
Jeffrey, what are some of the, I know you spoke about having to ensure your children have masks, but as a parent, what are some of the adjustments that you've had to make this time?
First of all, to make sure that the mask is in the bag every day. That in itself is a serious adjustment, because you know, previously we didn't have, we didn't need that. And then now making a constant reminder to the children that it is important to wear the mask. And then number 3, also observing a little bit more closely in terms of any changes in their body temperatures, just to make sure that everything is going well and they are well. So I guess perhaps being keen, the level of keenness is what has really needs to go up, has gone up, and also raising their levels of awareness about the need to take care. Yeah.
All right. The adjustments as a parent, I know you talked about the protocols by the Minister of Health and that of Education that you have to follow, but is learning as easy as it was before? Or because there was a teacher here who was saying that a lot of indiscipline from the learners, I think, in terms of observing these protocols. What are some of the things that you have to deal with right now as schools reopen with COVID-19?
Well, you see, 9 months of the children being out there without having no guidance of the teacher means some underwent some other learning processes which require to be retracted back so that normal learning process may start taking shape. As such, of course, at first you'll find that the learners may be distracted by the time but as we move along, as the teacher imparts the knowledge, you realize that whoever was not attentive will now start getting attentive to the teachers, and the learning process will take place. Of course, these children come from different environments. As such, you would expect it is not constant factor. Some were exposed to maybe doing some other activities rather than actually learning process. Others were so much engaged in learning process, online platform as such. So you can find, until again you find a bearing for all of them so that you can move along the same journey. There's those hiccups that may come along the way. But as a teacher, because we are trained, we know the psychology of the learners. There are those psychosocial issues that come by. And we have counseling department in schools which are actually well fast, and they can be able to identify such cases, and the isolated cases, and they handle the issues as they are. Give the advice as it is supposed to be given, and you literally, eventually, you find that we'll get to a convergence point where all the learners will be taking the same direction, and where the teachers will be able to guide and instruct as per expected. Of course, there must be teething problem as per soon opening, but thereafter along the journey, it will be effective way, and teachers will do the teaching process well.
And as we finish up on the protocol issue, there are relatives or even parents who contracted COVID-19, and to them COVID-19 is a reality. Maybe the 1% that you talked about of the learners who are yet to report back to school belong to this category of people. They are scared of seeing the young ones suffer, contract this disease. What's your assurance to parents out there, maybe withholding their learners, afraid that they may go to school and contract this deadly disease?
Of course, in relation to that, if you are not infected, we are affected. Because if there is a learner's parent who has been affected, they shall get already have affected in a way. But what we are seeing, the concern would be either the parent, either the learner, either the other part of the community. We should all be gearing toward one cause. We should all be geared to seeing to it that the protocols that have been ascribed by either the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, are actually actualized, so that everybody is on the toe in trying to make sure that such observations are made. And in this way, you'll find that the COVID-related issues will be minimized. For those who may not have gone back to school because of that, I'm sure the ministry have even worked with the Ministry of Coordination and the Interior to make sure that those cases are identified and they are brought into books so that they can be taken back to school, including those who may have been out of the school because of other issues like pregnancy, which are also very, very minimal. Yeah. So the government, the teachers, the community, if we all join hands, this is a community issue, and there is a community way of addressing that issue. You will find eventually that we shall be able to overcome the COVID-19. And actually, we may also say this purity. If you look in Kenyan context, compared with other, even African countries or the first world country, we can literally say that the COVID in school has not been a big issue and has been contained and has been maintained. As such, if we put collective effort, we can be able, and we can also say that the government has done such much in regard to containing and also coming out with the different protocols that can be able to help in containing the COVID in this country.
All right. Geoffrey, allow me to ask you this. Are you confident that your children are safe in school? You mentioned how you are taking care of them at home during the 9 months period. Are you confident that your children are safe in school? I'm sure you took them back to school and you are able to see how, you know, the school is dealing with this issue, the preparedness. From where you sit as a parent, what are your fears? And be honest with this one.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
The level of confidence increases, yeah, because on the 3rd of January, for example, the day before they reported to school, there's a lot of apprehension. You are really not sure what's going to happen from tomorrow henceforth. These children must go to school. So, but hitherto, I had made a visit to the school just to understand what is the level of preparedness, where are we at, and what are the possible risks that we would envision. But again, there are some things that you can only experience once you get in. So my take would be, yes, there is still that concern. Let me not call it a fear. I think it's a concern about what's going to happen. We are hearing that there's a new strain of the virus that is coming in. So is that strain going to overrun the measures that we have put in place or not? And then again, are we also as a school, will the school be able to sustain these measures? So it's a concerted effort for us as parents to remind the school that this needs to continue being done. For us as parents to encourage our children to also be the watchdogs as well. Come and tell us in case you find that there's anything that is going amiss. Please let us know. But I want to say that too much fear will not help the situation in any way. We must all try, yeah, from wherever we are, from all our standpoints, we must all try and make sure that we protect our children. Yes.
All right, and let me direct the question from Geoffrey to you. Is the school going to maintain these protocols in terms of capacity?
Well, as it is now, there is no turning back. We have started the journey, and we have seen it is possible because within the experience that we have had for the last 1 week, give us the impetus, give us this energy to move on and to push on and to soldier on and to make sure that we consistently do as it is required in regard to salvaging or maintaining or containing the COVID pandemic in our schools. And we have faith, we have hope, and with the help and the concerted effort, as he has said, rightfully, we can be able to overcome.
Faith and hope as a country we need.
Yeah, we need.
Yes, but I'm sure as an administration, as a school, there's some challenges that you faced, either with the learners or teachers.
Of course, there must be some teething problems, but that do not fail us to soldier on.
You do not want to talk about them?
What is very important is that by the end of the day, we have managed to contain, and that's the way to go. For this country actually to realize and to contain the COVID challenges, we must all belong, we must put our effort together, including the media. By the way you are doing it, by informing us rightfully, that is one way of containing. And that way, we are going to manage.
Patrick, you know what I'm asking? You do not want to talk about these challenges that you're facing as a school? Even from the learners' side? Not as much,
because I've not seen much challenges that I would
outweigh your effort.
That outweigh my effort. What I see is there is light at the end of the tunnel. Or what we require is the parent to come in, support their parent in providing provision of the mask. Teachers come in into making sure that those masks are getting used to by the children. And that way we are going to manage. Of course, there must be a way. Where there is a will, there is a way.
All right.
Perhaps
yes,
maybe in addition. The issue of consistency, I guess that would be the worrisome bit. We are only at the beginning.
Yeah.
It may be all nice and dandy at this point in time, but the consistency now also includes a lot of support from the government. The government also now needs to come in very, very strongly, and perhaps do whatever that they need to do in a timely manner. If there are finances that need to be sent to the schools, I think it would be very, very important for that to happen in a timely way, because that now would make sure that whatever effort that is being put is actually consistent. Because I want to imagine that the moment we let down our guard, yeah, that will be the beginning of problems. And for us to avoid these problems, then all the stakeholders, all the players in this, be it the healthcare providers, the education sector, the county government in terms of funding, they need to come in, and come in a big way, and come in a timely way. Because I believe if that doesn't happen, then again, all these efforts perhaps will go down the drain. Yes.
And Patrick, allow me to ask, you said at least 1%, about 1% of the learners are not back to school. Prior to the reopening of schools on Monday, some parents were complaining. I know Status Primary School is a public school and is the issue of free primary education. No, but some parents had complained that they are not able to, they are not economically stable. Some had even traveled to upcountry because they could not sustain the urban setup life. So have you tried to reach out to the 1% learners or their parents and find out why they are not back to school? Is it the issue of, affording economy? Is it the issue of still fear that their children will not be safe in school? What could be the problem? And then combine that question with, there was a study from Mombasa County that most boys are not back to school. So how do we as a country ensure that, as what the government through the Minister of Education is saying, that we are seeing 100% learners coming back to school?
Well, as I had earlier stated that most of learners are back to school. The 1% we may be referring to in this case are that category of learners whom their parent may have changed their place of work.
All right.
They may also have quitted their former jobs, or the jobs have come to an extent. So as such, you'll still find that kind of a drift. But that does not mean wherever they are moving to, there are no schools. And the government is very clear. It has stated that wherever the learner is, irrespective, must go back to school. So we are hoping within the next 1-2 weeks that if the government will be able to identify where the runners may be and for what reason. Because I said the Minister of Interior has also been involved, the chiefs, to make sure that they are tracking, they are tracing those learners wherever they may be, whatever reason it may have caught up with them, so that they can be taken back to school. Of course, it may be, it's not as big issue as it is, because you can see, for example, in my school, you may really 100% of learners are back in school. But where such cases, there may be not 100%, as such you see people depending on the cultural activity, depending on job activities, which may have come to a halt. But we are hoping that by and by, the normal process of learning will take place, and we'll have learners 100% in their learning institution.
And let's not forget about the teachers. There's a lot of pressure on teachers, especially on the issue of ensuring that, you know, the syllabus is covered, and learners are also, the candidates are also looking forward to sitting down for their national examinations. So what is the preparedness of your teachers in ensuring all this? And I'll be asking you about the national examinations.
For the teachers, there's a perfect way is that, you know, teachers are professionals.
Yeah.
What we require is time. And because, you know, the calendar of dates have changed, we'll find that grade...
You can update on
they have changed. You see, like the grade 4 standard date, they are now doing their third term. But the rest are doing their second term. That means that all the work that might not have been done, the moment that we went for that period of time that the runners were out, will be taken care of, because we have just gone back to second term work. So meaning that the teachers will be able to manage to cover the syllabus as it were meant to be. So as such, there will be no coverage of syllabus that will be lost. The only thing is that there will be change of time in which the taking over or moving into the next class will take place. So as such, teachers are prepared, teachers are aware of that, and we must be within. The ministry is aware of that, and because we are working in tandem, and because the ministry has given us the date to make sure that we have covered what we are supposed to cover. Of course, the issue of teachers may be in a way affected because of the way any other person was affected by the COVID. But eventually, with a clear roadmap, with a clear timeline, we shall be able, and we are sure, and we are certain, and we can actually affirm and confirm to the parent that they should not have any fears of the work that was meant to be covered, not covered, because we have been given time, and we shall be able to do that.
All right.
Yeah.
As we wind up, Geoffrey, I'll welcome you to tell us and speak to the principal. You know, what are your expectations as a parent? You know, your children were home for 9 months. There is a lot that they need to learn or compensate. So what are your expectations?
Okay, the expectations may be two-pronged.
Yeah.
Number one, the obvious expectation is academic excellence, for them to perform the way they should, and even within the prevailing circumstances. Then the second expectation would be, so that perhaps now, in order for that to happen as an outcome, so as he correctly spoke about the teachers, so we need to have adequate number of teachers, them to be present all the time, because again, there's also that challenge. And then also, even in terms of, we have to try and make sure that even the social distancing within the classroom has been attained. So perhaps that's also an expectation. Then in terms of health, it will be prudent for the teachers and the rest of the staff members in the school to try and make sure that as best as possible, they take care of our children, such that in the unlikely event that we have a case, that case is handled professionally and is handled such that it will not cause a spread within the school. Yeah.
All right. If I was a parent in your school, Patrick, my level of confidence would at least go up from what you're talking about and how the school is ensuring that the COVID-19 protocols, if they are being adhered to by both learners and teachers, and that's really commendable. So what are we looking at? Let's talk about the new normal as we wind up, of course. What the new normal for a public school looks like right now, as we paint a picture to parents who are still scared that of the safety of their learners in schools.
Well, thank you. You see, now, what we would assure the parent is that that apprehension should come to an end, because for the last 9 months, or since March, when the school were closed, we have learned more about the COVID. And now we know exactly what it is. We know how we can prevent it. We know how the learners can prevent themselves from getting to COVID. And where they cannot, the teachers have come in to fill in the gap. So one good thing I would say, without bringing the eye to the parent, is that they join the teachers in trying to contain this COVID issue, because when we put, we join effort together, it is very, very possible to contain it. You see, for example, purity. Washing the hands, it has become a norm to all the learners. Like, they want to do it. You see, it's a normal practice, and practice makes perfect. We have seen they are doing it willingly. Putting on the mask. We may only be having small challenges in the lower classes where the children are given time, even they forget about it. And you see, we are insisting every other day the teachers to come in and fill that gap.
Okay.
And with that, we'll eventually be able to contain and we'll move soldier and soldier.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Thank you so much, Patrick Mwangi, the principal, State House Primary School, and Geoffrey, thank you for coming and telling us some of the fears and the adjustments that you've had to make as a parent. I'm sure you representing a lot of parents out here. I am looking forward to having this conversation again, maybe reviewing learners or schools reopening in a month to come. But thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
All right, and that brings us to the end of Channel Family Matters KBC tonight. Many thanks for your company. Thank you for your feedback. I'll not be able to go through them live here because of time, but I'll be reviewing them off air. Thank you once again. My name is Purity Museo. Byron Abuli has been a sign language interpreter tonight. Do enjoy the rest of the week ahead, and good night.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.